Guard? My name is Raven Stormclaw, and welcome back to Class Theory. This is a series where we look at different builds from the magic classes and break them down and see what I think about them, see what y'all think about them, and we have ourselves a nice little discussion. Today on Class Theory, we will be discussing bards, more specifically, my preferred bard list. This list is something that I personally like to run a lot. Now, this list was originally inspired by Kvothe. Kvothe ran this list a lot back when he was pushing for his Paragon, and he eventually got his Paragon using primarily this list. Now, it's not the end-all be-all by any stretch of the imagination, but it is one that I personally like to run a lot, and a lot of people do as well. So, or one's very similar to it. I've tweaked this list a little bit to reflect my particular playstyle, but also the meta in both my kingdom and my park. So without further ado, let's get on into it. Like last time, we're going to bring it up on the screen here. And also like last time, we are going to start from level 6 and work our way down. The first thing I want to talk about on this list is Dervish. This is a must-buy for this list. I think most people would agree with me that it is one of the best archetypes in the game, bar none. The only thing that might beat it out would be Battle Mage from the Wizard list. Y'all know how I feel about Battle Mage. I think it's amazing. And I think the same thing about Dervish. It's great. Double verbals? Yes, please. Thank you. One notable difference on my list that differs it from Kvothe's list is I do not take Combat Caster. I don't like it. I don't think it's worth it. It's just as easy for me to just switch my sword to my shield hand and cast. But I don't take Combat Caster. I don't like it. I can see where people might want it, but it's not for me. The second thing we'll talk about is Stun. It's too good not to have. It's the best crowd control spell in the game, bar none. It hits just about everything except for monks, and it's great. It's one of our only things on this list that we can run that's actually an out to paladin. Paladins against bards is actually a really nasty matchup. It's just not something that I like to go up against ever, but in the cases that we do, we now have stun. Deal with that. The other thing I like to take on level 6 is Song of Interference. Being able to dodge any kind of verbal spells while you're on the front line or while you're in the thick of things it's really good. It's very invaluable, and I love to have it. One other thing about this list before we move on, this list necessitates a look the part bonus, and we're going to take that 6th point from level 6 and we're going to move it down to level 5 in order to buy our medium shield. I buy the medium shield here. It is very expensive at level 5 with the Dervish negative here. It's 6 points. It's 6 points worth of magic that you need in order to buy that shield, but it is absolutely worth it. The only other thing I like to buy at level 5 is Lost, and we just don't really need Lost on this list. We've got other things that we can use. We don't really need Lost. Moving on to level 4, we're going to put 2 points into Terror, and we are going to experience that, so bear that in mind as we go further on down this list. We are going to experience Terror. It's going to give us 4 per refresh, charge 10. Terror basically just for barbarians. It's a really good spell anyway, even if you're not targeting barbarians. If maybe you can target somebody else with it, it's very, very useful. I definitely recommend picking it up on this list. Next thing we're going to pick up on level 4 is Song of Deflection. It's another thing that you can't really live without. Being able to make yourself immune to projectiles on a whim whenever you want, and it's unlimited, and it's a one-line incant, it might be the best song on the bard list. There is a very strong argument for that. The only other one I would maybe say is better, or at least contends for it, is Song of Interference, and we've already talked about Song of Interference. It's great. Moving on to level 3. We put 3 points into Awe. Awe is great. It hits a lot of things. The only things that it dodges are paladins, barbars, and monks. What are you going to do? But literally everything else can be affected by Awe, and it's really easy to cast, it's really fast to cast, and the fact that we can get them per life, and in this list we're getting 6 of them, is just bonus on bonus on bonus. It's really good. Any bard that's not taking Awe is doing it wrong, and I don't see any reason not to take 6 of them. Next up, Song of Freedom. Song of Freedom is one of those tech choices, another thing that differs my list from Kvothe's original, although I'm sure he runs it now. The Song of Freedom is really mainly to combat ice balls and also to combat things like entangles or hold person. That kind of thing can really mess you up. And being able to make yourself immune to it and chase down that druid with ice balls or healers with ice balls or whoever, whatever have you with ice balls. Being able to dodge the effect of lightning bolts is also really good. It's a really good thing to have in order to keep yourself mobile. We want to stay mobile on this list. Moving to level 2, we've got 2 mends, or 2 points in mend rather, which gives us 4 per life. This is to keep your equipment from being broken. Destruction arrows and the like, fireballs and whatever have you, is just a bad day for you, and being able to mend that very, very quickly, it's invaluable. You need it. Buy 2, get 4. It's a good deal. 1 greater release, or 1 point into greater release, which is going to give you 2 per refresh. That's a pretty good get out of jail free card. It stops teleporters, or it also can stop things like Elemental Barrage Wizard, or even a Fighting After Death Barbarian. Being able to greater release a Fight After Death is actually a really good feeling. I really like doing that. But it's also really good for when your teammate gets hit by something and you're nowhere near them in order to help them out. You can target them and say, hey, buddy, all those things that are affecting you, they're not affecting you anymore. Go kill them. 2 innates per refresh, mainly for the terrors. The Song of Interference, charge 5. You don't really need to use an innate for that. You can if you're in a pinch, but mainly these 2 innates are for the terrors. So this effectively gives us 6 terrors per refresh, and if you can't get the job done with 6 terrors, there's something else going on. Or maybe you just got 26 barbars on the field and you're just gonna have a bad day. Things happen, right? Down to level 1, we put 1 point into shove, which gets us 2 per life. That gives you your this lets you pick and choose your matchups a little bit better. It's a little bit of a get out of jail free card too if somebody's charging you, or if there's a paladin that you don't want to fight, you want to fight the warrior next to him. This is a good way to make that happen for you. 1 point into confidence. Again, any bard that's not taking confidence is not doing it right. It's a must-have for any team game. It's a must-have for anything, really. It's just too good. You get one. You put 1 point in, you get 2 per refresh. Charge 5. Charge 5 is nothing. Are you kidding? You can rattle that off in a minute, less than a minute. But yeah, no, it's a really good thing to have anyway. And the fact that we get them doubled from Dervish is fantastic, and the fact that they're on charge by themselves is also fantastic. And then of course we're going to use the remainder of our points for 1 short sword, because why would you buy a shield and not a sword? This list is mainly for, what I use this list for is when I know I'm going to be aggro, when I know I'm going to be on the front lines with my buddies, fighting and trying to push objectives or capture objectives or kill the captain, etc. This is the list that I like to run. This is a very flexible list. You can run this just about anywhere on the field. I wouldn't really recommend it for the back line unless your job is solely protect the res bot. It could work in that regard. I would recommend a couple of changes if you're going to do that. The Song of Freedom comes to mind. You don't really need that if you're going backline. There's a couple of other changes I could make, but this isn't really made for the backline. This is more of a midfield list and a frontline list. You can definitely run this in the midfield, skirmishing, protecting the objective, protecting the back lineup, but also helping in the front line as well. But you can also plop yourself right on the front line, shoulder to shoulder with your tanky warriors, and you can have a great day with this list. This, I would say, is my main list. If I had to pick a list that I run more than just about anything when I play Bard, it's this list, followed very closely by the pure CC list. But this is the primary one. This allows me to get my stick jock on and do a bunch of fighting, but at the same time do a lot of talking and a lot of casting and a lot of helping out the team. And that's really what bards are meant to do. They are very much a support class, and this is a great example of that list. That's all I've got for you today. Tune in next time. We're going to be talking about druid lists, some things that I run, some things that some buddies of mine run, whatever have you. At least that's the plan. If you guys comment down below that you want to see something different, we'll definitely take a look and do something different, potentially. But as far as what's in my brain, druid is next on the docket. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new, please hit subscribe. If you liked what I did here, hit the like button. Show me some support. Drop a comment down below. I love reading the comments. I like responding to the comments. It's all just a great time. Share this video with all your friends. Drive them absolutely bonkers with my wonderful voice. And until next time, Amp Guard, live the dream, and I'll see you next time.